Right, guys, here we are, MMA UK News. Stoomboy, as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So, talking about grappling, as we've been doing the last few weeks now. So, it's going to be this Saturday, the 23rd of July. We're going to be heading down to Cardiff for the Radisson Blue Hotel for Grapple Kings 8. Now, it's going to be Team England versus Team Wales. Now, the winner will head on to take on Team Ireland later in the year at obviously Grapple Kings 9. So, looking at both lineups, I mean, we're talking, and I keep saying this, I mean, we're talking about some of the best grapplers across both countries are going to be on display that night. You're talking about some of the best guys in Europe are going to be on display that night. So, going to be an awesome event. Neil Atkins and Ash Williams have put together two unbelievable teams. So anybody that's going to be there watching it on the night is going to be in for an unbelievable, I believe it's day and night of action. So now ticket availability. There is still some tickets left. So anybody is looking for tickets, head over to the Grapple Kings Facebook page. It'll take you through Eventbrite. And I believe the tickets are £35, depending on where you sit. And anybody that is looking for the pay-per-view, there is going to be pay-per-view for this. So we'll announce obviously more details, pricing and stuff like that at the end of this call. But it's going to be Fight TV. And I said I'll give you the details later on. So my next guest is going to be on the show that night. So Spud Jiu Jitsu or Spud Jitsu, Ben Robson, CF24 Jiu Jitsu. Now, Ben is one of these guys, again, unbelievable grappler. He's very unassuming as well, because obviously when you see Ben at first, you don't expect to see what you're about to see when he steps onto the mat. I was saying to Jay Butler earlier on, we saw him when he came up, and he almost single-handedly took out the Four Nations himself, and put on an absolute unbelievable performance at SGI when I seen him last. So, but obviously he's out there. He'll step up and fight anybody at any time, which is always brilliant to see. So, going to be up against an old foe in Jay Butler. So obviously him and Jay have met before, so we're going to see them again on Saturday. So listen, Ben, absolute pleasure. Thank you again for obviously taking the time to speak to me.
No, thanks for having me on. It's always good to catch up and have a chat.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely love it. I mean, I'd say when I saw you, when I say unassuming, like, obviously I say that very respectfully, because, again, when people look and see, because obviously they see, even when they look at me, obviously being a smaller person, and they think, oh, he's only a wee guy, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Whereas, obviously, you came in and you were throwing people about. Obviously judo throwing people, your wrestling was unbelievable, your grappling, jiu-jitsu, very, very technical and so on as well. So so it makes you very unassuming. People don't expect to see what you do when you step on the mats.
Yeah, I think like the SGI was nice because I got to showcase like a side of my game that I quite enjoyed to play. But sometimes against the lighter guys, it's really guard pull first. It's not quite the style that kind of looks good. But then my first match was Stevie Ray on SGI. Like he was out of hand, chunky Stevie Ray. So it was quite nice to have a tussle with him, and he's always good as well. So it was nice to showcase that side of my game. That match with Stevie Ray, like I was catch for that. So Stevie Ray wants to run back and have another barn burner as well.
Yeah. I'd say we absolutely loved it. I mean, obviously, Team Wales again ended up in the final, obviously took on England in the final. We had Ellis Younger. Obviously, Ellis Younger stepped up for Team Wales, and we're seeing that this time as well. I mean, there's a couple of English guys representing Team Wales. Obviously, Impact Gym, I believe I've got, 3 or 4 people representing Team Wales, should I say. But obviously, they're affiliated with obviously Ash and Team Drag, so it made sense they were going to be involved some way. So, but the Team Wales, I mean, the Team Wales is unbelievable, an absolutely amazing team that Ash has put together.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Like I think like the team we've got, and like obviously Team Wales, I think we've got a few Aussie expats, maybe some descendant Welsh blood as well. The matches on this card are ridiculous. You can put them as any one of them, maybe like final, like the top 7 or 8 matches you can put as a main event on a different show. Like there's a few matches that like I saw when they're announced. These are really good matches.
Yeah. Any you're looking forward to seeing yourself? Obviously, apart from your own match with Jay, but anything you're looking forward to seeing any of the matches?
Yeah, like I think it's fallen through and there's been a opponent change. I was looking forward to seeing Finn against a man from Ellis's gym. I thought that was going to be a really good match. Both two up and comers who are very good. So
yeah,
match hasn't happened now. I think that will happen again in the future. But still on this card, I think Ellis is going to bring it as he does. And then I think Ben Bennett and Barry, like,
ooh, yeah,
written all over it. Both guys bring it. Both got like that aggressive style. I don't know if they've faced it before, and if they haven't, it's been a long time coming. So I think that's a good match. Obviously, Ash there and Tom Tovey, like the Dragon guy, are always going to bring it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Like I said, like my match with Jay, we fought before. I have nothing but respect for Jay. He and I get on really well, and I think it's kind of been and since we fought before that it was inevitable that it was going to happen again.
Yeah, nah, you're right. Ben Bennett, Tom Barry. Oh, mate, that is, you talk about main events again. That's a main event in itself. Do you know what I mean? And you said it yourself. I mean, there's about 7 or 8 fights on this card that can easily be put at the top of the list on any other card. And it's the same. We see that not just obviously in Grapple Kings. We see that Grapple Fest as well do exactly the same thing. Polaris are doing unbelievable things with the talent that they put on show as well. So, and again, it's good as well. I mean, certainly for Wales, because obviously we had Polaris, we've had things like Cage Warriors recently in Wales. In fact, Cage Warriors again is going to be in Wales soon. The same as PFL are going to be. I believe they're both on the same night, which is going to be interesting. So, and then obviously Grapple Kings coming over. So, big things are happening in Wales in regards to any kind of combat sports at the moment.
Yeah, it's good to see. Like, kind of as a Welshman, it's nice to see that. And I think, like, I think it's like North Wales is bringing it as well. There's a few guys on this card from North, and they always bring it as well. But I think like even South Wales is like that jiu-jitsu hub.
Yeah.
Kind of Bride, CF24, Craig Ewers, Rob Taylor's gym. These guys like in the jiu-jitsu team's got it, and then you've got like Larry combat guys, Valleys for MMA, and like a few up and comers with the MMA as well. So I think like kind of like McGregor put it like the fighting Irish, but I think like we're seeing the emergence of like the fighting Welsh.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's good to see. I think like in like the history of like Welsh combat sports, like Joe Calzaghe, kind of the old school boxers come through. I've now seen it with like more modern combat arts and jiu-jitsu and MMA. So
yeah,
it's good to see big things happening. And obviously we've got good stand-up names as well, like Ash and Fiona kind of leading from the front.
Yeah. You're the second person I've spoke to recently that mentioned Joe Calzaghe. Because obviously Joe Calzaghe's one of the guys, obviously in boxing, everybody knows who he is, absolute legend. And he's one of the guys that didn't get and still doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously you look at his career and the things that he'd done, and I mean, he done some amazing stuff, some amazing things, and things that people didn't expect. But again, that just shows obviously the fight in Welsh, as you say. So, and then now obviously we're seeing it in MMA, we're seeing it in grappling and so on. So just that evolving combat sports, and Wales seem to be definitely leading from the front at the moment, which is brilliant to see.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I think like it's nice. It's quite refreshing. I think like across the board in jiu-jitsu, we're seeing that more like cross-training dynamic, but especially more on like a local level. Like I've been going up and training a bit with kind of Ash, getting the rounds in there. They've come down a few gyms around Cardiff. Guys will hop in like across the board, not just the top end guys, but like we're seeing less and less of this kind of like don't go train at other gyms. It's like it makes sense to do it. Like for me, like kind of when I go train with someone like Ash who's at that top end. And my goal, if I'm going to go do like AJP abroad, like get some Brazilian first round, the best guys I can. So obviously I'm in a fortunate position that in my gym as well, I have a lot of very good people to train with. But it makes sense to get some cross training as well. And I think we're seeing this like in London, you see it a lot. Obviously, in Scotland, I know a few of the guys cross train. The north of England, they have their own mats that kind of stealth and stuff, and it's refreshing to see that as the UK, we're seeing that evolution and less people are trying to, it's my gym. Like an armbar's an armbar, they're not going to show groundbreaking things. You can represent who you want, and as a nation, we can go forward on the world stage and kind of push it a little bit more. And I think it's nice to see.
Yeah. Listen, we absolutely love it. We absolutely love any Wales, because the Welsh, we always relate to Wales and Scotland, because obviously Scotland being a small country as well, a fighting country, a fighting nation for hundreds of years, and obviously Wales exactly the same, been fighting for hundreds of years, and do you know what I mean, being a small country as well. So we kind of relate to Wales whenever Scotland. So yeah, it's brilliant to see obviously you guys going out there and doing your thing and represent your country while you're doing it as well, which is again an awesome thing to do. So what about Grapple Kings then? So obviously you got the shout on that. Again, I mentioned to Jay, I said obviously like when they were putting a Team England together, it was obvious that Jay was going to be on it. And Jay was like, oh, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, no, listen, if you were to put a list of some of the top people in England that you wanted to be on Team England, Jay Butler was going to be on it. And it's exactly the same with Wales. If you were putting a Team Wales together, it was obvious that Ben Robson was going to be on it as well.
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. I think I kind of pride myself on trying to put like the Welsh flag out there on the competition stage, whether that's on a sub-only show or kind of on the international level. Kind of a thing I told myself when I got my black belt was like, it's less about the results locally and it's more about kind of something bigger now. And I think like flying the flag and proving we're not just a random country next to England, like we are like a solid nation. And like, even as a UK athlete going abroad and competing, kind of flying the flag of not just Wales but the UK is there. So it's quite nice to kind of get recognised, that to represent your country a little bit on a show like this.
Yeah. But it's going to be a good event as well. I mean, Grapple Kings has grown and grown. We saw things like that happen with Grapple Fest. Grapple Fest grew and grew and grew, and it seems to be exactly the same with Grapple Kings. Grapple Kings is doing some amazing things at the moment. Again, they're getting some top grapplers on the card, and this one's probably the best card. They always seem to get better and better and better. So, and again, the chance obviously beat England. Then obviously the future event against Team Ireland, who put together an awesome team as well. So a chance to step up against Ireland and become the top dog.
Yeah, I think that'll be like a nice thing. And like, I think you look at any one of the kind of Welsh athletes, you ask them, they're going to want to do that. Like, kind of the dry guys will all be pushing to want to be the best. Like Ash kind of brings that out, those guys, and as a nation, I think we always want to do it. It's like, and especially it's always bragging rights, isn't it? You look at any other sport like rugby, you look at the Six Nations, it's like who won the Six Nations, and that's their kind of bragging rights for the next year.
Yeah. No, definitely. What's next for you then? So obviously this Saturday, obviously your main focus. So I know that when we spoke last time, it was Christmas time, just before Christmas. So obviously you were going to go and enjoy the rest of your Christmas, not even think about stuff. But now obviously you're deep in the middle of the year. So what's your plans going forward?
So I got Grapple Kings on Saturday. And then I'm actually going to be moving out of Cardiff. I'm moving to the Midlands, going to be kind of working on setting up my own gym and kind of starting things outside of Wales. I still have a flag. So on Sunday, I obviously coach at CF24, and we have a small affiliate out of an MMA gym in Cardiff that I'm the head jiu-jitsu coach of. And a lot of my guys there are competing in grappling industries on Sunday as well. So I was like, I kind of want to fly the flag, lead from the front with those guys as well. So I'm going to compete on the Sunday as well. So both Jay and I are going to be competing 2 days in a row. After that, I'm going to try and wrap up my PhD and then look to compete again, maybe end of August, early September once I've moved, and go from there. I think I want to kind of focus a bit more on some tournaments, maybe Euronogi lined up for November time with Chris from Grapple Fest. So maybe if we can get a good matchup on that card, I'll aim for that. Just trying to stay as busy as I can. I think kind of August will naturally be a little bit quieter for myself just because of like personal things with finishing the PhD and planning a move kind of 2.5 hours away. Kind of life admin, but I want to get back competing straight away. Like I listened to the Jay's one, just kind of put my name out there and just keep chipping away. This, and then I think keep as many tournaments, as many matches I can get in the build up to Christmas and get abroad a little bit, and then 2023 kind of hit the European scene hard from there then as well.
No, listen, I'm looking forward to it. As I said, I loved seeing you. SGI was the first time I'd seen you in person. And as I said, when I talk about very unassuming, as I say, I always say that respectfully. Me, like probably most people, didn't expect you to come out and be doing some of the things that you did. And then you came out and, do you know what I mean, you were probably one of the stars of the night. Do you know what I mean? Which was absolutely awesome. I love it when the smaller guys. I was calling Jay. I said the wee man, because I love the smaller guys going out there and doing their thing against much bigger opponents and getting success when they're doing it. So, but definitely, definitely one of the stars from when I saw you the last time at SGI. So, so final thing for you then, Ben. So obviously, again, been in the game a long time. Anybody you want to shout out to? So friends, family members, teammates, sponsors, anything like that.
Yeah, just like I'd like to shout out my team. Like I wouldn't be half the athlete I am without any of them. Like every day, like they beat the crap out of me, so that when I go compete, it's never as hard. Like I'll be in training tomorrow, and Saturday will probably feel like a breeze compared to tomorrow's training session. So just like shout out to my team, coaches, kind of Bryn and Omid, and all the guys I train with, all my students at the hangar and CF24 for kind of trusting me. Obviously, shout out sponsors, Tatami, Whiskey Wolf. And then just, shout out to everyone that kind of has supported me along the way. My parents, just because of helping me out when I'm not choosing wise career choices and trying to get as many degrees as I can whilst trying to pursue the art of struggle cuddles. But yeah, no, that's it. Like kind of everyone that kind of usually gets a shout out. Thanks for that. Thanks for having me on to chat as well, and Grapple Kings for the opportunity to compete as well.
Let me ask you one question, obviously, about the sponsors. So obviously, both you and Jay sponsored by Tatami. So how does that work? Because obviously, like, whenever a person goes out and competes, obviously the sponsor's always like, yeah, Ben's going out there and doing his thing. Tatami sponsored athlete and stuff like that. So what do they do when two of their own athletes are up against each other in a competition? Because obviously they can't have favourites. So how do they play it?
It's a win-win for them, isn't it? Like if there's good photography and they can use it, it's like, okay, like here's Ben and Jay Butler going at it. Ben's wearing the new shorts. Like it's a win for them. And like, I think it makes more sense. Like it's inevitable. They're a big company. Like two athletes are going to face each other at some point. I think it's inevitable. Like it makes sense that like we're both in different areas. Like I can promote within kind of Wales, my gym, sell their merch, promote that. And then Jay's the same as well. So it's like, I don't think it's too much of an issue for them. It's a win-win. There's no kind of downside for them. They get their product on show at a high level by two people that they've supported for a long time.
No, fair play. I'd say Tatami's, again, absolute fantastic company. So obviously, again, what they do is they do it for the grapplers. They do it for grappling, for Jiu Jitsu and things like that. So, listen, anybody looking for any Tatami gear, definitely head over to their website and get some gear, man. It's absolutely fantastic. They do as well. I mean, for anybody that's smaller, the more chunkier guy, right? They do a husky range as well. So not many people do a husky. Ben, you won't know what a husky range is, right? So, but yeah, for the smaller, chunkier guy, right? So.
To be fair, I didn't know about any of this, and I had someone start training with me, and they were like, "Oh, what should I do about a rash guard?" And like they were like, "I'm a little bit heavier, like had a bit of a belly," and I was like, "Oh, just train. Like it can be a good motivation to lose some weight." And he was like, "Oh, Tatami do a dad pod rash guard, so I might just do that for now." And I was like, "I had no idea that this was a thing."
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's only a few companies out there that do it. Tatami, as I say, Tatami's one of the geese I've got. I wear Tatami because of the husky range. So for the smaller, more, when they say husky, the more chunkier fellows. So get on to Tatami if you need a small, big gi. So so there we go, guys. We're going to have Ben Robson, CF24 Jiu Jitsu, going to be up against Jay Butler of Jay Butler Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Going to be this Saturday, Cardiff, Radisson Blue Hotel, 23rd of July, Grapple Kings 8th. Now, Team England versus Team Wales. So again, two unbelievable teams are going to be on display that night. So anybody looking for tickets, head over to the Grapple Kings Facebook page and go through Eventbrite, and you'll get your tickets directly from there. And anybody that can't make the event that night is on pay-per-view. It's on Fight TV. Again, I keep saying the best payment option is probably the monthly direct debit. What's out just over £4 a month. And as I said, you're getting not just all the Grapple Kings events, all the Grapple Fest events in there as well. So, listen, anybody that's into wrestling, I saw this today. SummerSlam 1992 is on Fight TV as well. So again, I think it was a historic event. Bret the Hitman Hart was on it, and oh mate, all the classic stuff. So anybody into wrestling, £4, and you can see Grapple Kings this Saturday night. So listen, Ben, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for obviously taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you for having me on.
Listen, I'll see you Saturday. I'm commentating, so do you know what I mean? I always love talking about you, Jay Butler. I love as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing a lot of good stuff about you on Saturday night.
Amazing, thank you, mate.
Perfect. Thanks again. Take it easy, buddy.